The atmosphere behind the scenes of late-night television has always been a place of bright lights, laughter, and carefully curated entertainment. Yet, beneath that glittering surface, tensions often simmer, disagreements fester, and battles sometimes break out between those who hold the spotlight and those who control the machinery that keeps it shining. Now, in a story shaking the very foundation of late-night comedy, Stephen Colbert, one of the most recognizable and influential figures in American television, is said to have declared war on his own bosses. What was once seen as a partnership between a performer and the network that broadcasts his work has reportedly fractured, leaving staff, audiences, and media observers stunned. Colbert, known for his sharp wit, his ability to lampoon politics, and his role as a cultural commentator, is allegedly no longer content to play by the quiet rules of corporate diplomacy. Instead, according to those familiar with the situation, he has drawn his line in the sand. This dramatic escalation did not arrive overnight. For months, perhaps even years, whispers have suggested there were disagreements over creative control, pressure over ratings, and a mounting frustration about executive interference in what Colbert views as his show. To the millions of viewers who watch him each night, he remains the commanding presence at the desk, a man in control of his stage. But behind closed doors, it appears his relationship with the powers above has soured, to the point where insiders describe it as an outright war. The origins of this conflict, according to those close to the matter, trace back to the delicate balance between creativity and corporate oversight. Colbert, having built a career on his unique brand of satire, has always insisted that his material must be fearless, authentic, and free from the heavy hand of network executives who often prioritize caution over controversy. For executives, however, the stakes are different. Advertisers, shareholders, and ratings form the bedrock of their decisions. When Colbert's jokes or sketches push the limits, executives feel the ripple effects from corporate partners and critics alike. It is here, in this clash between art and commerce, that the battle began. Reports suggest that the breaking point came during a recent round of tense meetings about the future direction of the show. Executives allegedly pushed for changes in tone, urging Colbert to temper certain political barbs and broaden the appeal of his comedy to avoid alienating audiences in an increasingly polarized media environment. Colbert, fiercely protective of his voice and loyal to the fans who have followed him since his early days, is said to have rejected these suggestions outright. Instead of backing down, he doubled down, insisting that the show must remain true to its satirical spirit or risk losing the very essence that made it a success. But this was no ordinary disagreement. The word from inside is that Colbert did more than argue. He declared his refusal to bow to executive pressure and in doing so, made it clear that he was prepared to escalate the conflict in ways that could shake the network to its core. Those who have seen him behind the scenes describe him as fiery, impassioned, and determined, a man unwilling to surrender his stage to corporate caution. For the network executives, this poses a grave dilemma. On one hand, Colbert is not just a late-night host. He is a brand, a cultural force, and one of the most valuable assets in the network's lineup. His presence draws millions of viewers, headlines across the media, and influence far beyond the boundaries of comedy. To alienate him, or worse, to lose him, could inflict untold damage on their late-night stronghold. On the other hand, executives are tasked with managing risk, preserving advertiser relationships, and keeping the corporate machinery humming. Colbert's war against them threatens that balance, creating a situation that no simple compromise seems capable of resolving. Behind the cameras, staffers now find themselves caught in the middle of this high-stakes standoff. Some are said to be firmly aligned with Colbert, viewing him as the creative heartbeat of the operation, and the man whose vision has brought them both critical acclaim and a devoted fan base. Others worry about their jobs, their security, and the potential fallout should this war escalate further. Already, rumors swirl about heated conversations, late-night phone calls, and long meetings that end without resolution. What makes this conflict even more dramatic is its visibility. Colbert is not a behind-the-scenes figure. He is a performer whose life plays out in public, whose every word can ignite a conversation across the nation. Should he choose to bring elements of this battle into his monologues, the world would not just hear about the war, they would see it unfold in real time. That possibility, some insiders suggest, is what terrifies the executives most. A public feud with their own star could spiral far beyond their control. Observers of television history know this is not the first time a host has clashed with their bosses. Legendary figures in late-night television have battled over contracts, content, and creative freedom. But rarely has a star of Colbert's stature appeared so determined to take the fight directly to those above him. His declaration of war signals not just a private disagreement, but a defining moment in the evolution of late-night television itself. Why now? That question looms large. Some believe Colbert feels emboldened by his years of success, secure in his role as a cultural icon, and unwilling to let executives dictate the boundaries of his comedy. Others argue the shifting landscape of television, with streaming platforms, new competition, and changing audience habits, has made him more protective than ever of his legacy. Whatever the reason, the timing suggests he views this as a fight worth risking everything for. For the audience, the consequences are both thrilling and uncertain. On one hand, a Colbert unrestrained by executive caution could deliver some of the most biting, fearless comedy of his career. On the other, if the conflict escalates too far, the show itself could face disruption, with whispers already hinting at the possibility of walkouts, production halts, or even Colbert considering alternatives outside the network. The executives, meanwhile, are said to be weighing their options carefully. To confront Colbert directly risks alienating a man with enormous public sympathy and a powerful media platform. To yield to him risks setting a precedent that could undermine their authority across the network. This delicate balance has left them walking a tightrope, unsure of whether to escalate, compromise, or attempt to quietly contain the conflict before it explodes. And yet, the tone from Colbert suggests compromise is not the word on his mind. Those who have spoken with him privately describe his position as uncompromising, even combative. He reportedly sees this not just as a workplace disagreement, but as a larger battle for artistic integrity, a refusal to let comedy be watered down by the anxieties of those who sign the checks. His war, in his eyes, is not just against his bosses, but against a system that too often places profit above creativity. As this standoff unfolds, the wider industry watches closely,